So learners, in this particular section, we are going to understand what are the measures taken to check the population explosion in India. So these measures are classified into basically three categories. The first one is the economic measures, second one is the social measures, and the third one is what we have the measure in terms of population policy of India. Now let's study one by one each of these. The first part, if we have to see, is talking about the economic measures. Now, economic, as we know, the term connects to money, right? And the resources. So, if we have to talk about the economic measures, we need to see to it that the population is basically having the facilities to raise their standard of living and help reduce the population growth. Now, raising the standard of living, how can it reduce the population growth? You may feel this as a question, right? So, what happens? Basically, as I told you, because of agriculture, because of thinking that the children are the cheap labors for agriculture, because of not understanding the financial position of the family and not understanding that children can be a part of the burden on finance, not understanding that having more children does not solve the economic crisis situation, and so on. This is basically connected to money. So basically, people used to feel that if we have more children, there will be more money, there will be more support, there will be more economic benefit for the family. So once your own standard of living rises, once you have your own money, once you don't need support from your children in old age or whatever reasons, then naturally people will stop having unnecessary childbirths. This is what is the idea behind raising the economic standards. How can economic measures be taken up? By giving employment. So having more industrialization obviously solves the problem of employment. Creation of employment opportunities, reducing the poverty, equitable distribution of income and wealth can also be taken up. So more the population becomes wealthier, having more economic support for yourself, you think twice before having children. This is what is the idea. This also can be seen in the developed countries. The more educated, the more economically independent people opt for less children. Even if we talk about the industrialists in India, you will find them having two or three children maximum. Some don't even have children. So, why is so? They have so much of money, then why not have more children, right? But the whole idea that having more economic benefits to your own self saves you of the idea of having more children. So, this is what is a natural cycle which was noticed in many observations, and so having more economic upliftment of the society leads to having less of birth rate and less of children. Second is, if we talk about social measures obviously will be connected to having more awareness created, right? So people should be made aware that having a male child not necessarily solves all problems. So even the girl child can be supportive to you, can be helpful to you, right? So just having a girl child may not be that bad for you. So, this is the first awareness that has to be created in the Indian society so that people who are obsessed with having a male child will stop giving multiple births till they have the male child. This can improvise with the spread of education, having more support to the women empowerment, then improvising the status of women and also increasing the age of marriage, that is increasing the minimum age of marriage. So these points will be of key importance in having the social measures implemented for population control, right? Hope so these two measures are clear now. Now we proceed ahead to the third measure taken by the government, which was talking about the population policy of India, how the government actually supported having less number of children. So let's see the facts. What did government do? It had population policy of India, in which the first part was related to family planning programs. This was launched basically in 1952, and this talks about planned parenthood. right? So you have to plan your children, basically family planning, where you can actually decide when to have a child and when not to have a child. Family planning in India, the program was not much successful because of the lack of awareness. And there were a lot of religious beliefs at that point of time, because it was like early on, 1952, people were totally religious, superstitious, and that's why government could not implement the family planning program in 1952. Second, they tried with family welfare program. Now they renamed this family planning program to family welfare program, right? In 1979, it attempted to actually what integrate family planning services with those of maternal, child health, and nutrition. So they focused upon low child, basically birth rate, or you could say that integrating the family planning system with the other benefits, like if you're giving the woman who is pregnant some benefits in terms of free medications, free food services, or nutrition facilities to children, health care facilities to children, and so on. So they termed it as family welfare program. Then came the National Population Policy, which was implemented in 2000, year 2000, quite late after the Family Welfare Program. Now, what they did, they mentioned here that you need to have free and compulsory education up to the age of 14 years. Compulsively, you need to be educated, and the education will be free. Then you need to reduce infant mortality rate to below 30 per thousand live births. Now, why this is important? Because the more you reduce the infant mortality rate, the bigger will be the family planning measures successful, because people will stop fearing the death of children, and so they will stop giving multiple births, considering that now the child survives well. So earlier there was a belief that what if you give birth to two children and both die, then what? So you should have multiple children so that at least one or two of them survive. So this was how the case and the situation actually was in India in the earlier time periods. So this reducing infant mortality rate could save India from having a higher population. Then reducing maternal mortality rates also below 100 per 1 lakh live births. So that was another measure where the women who are giving birth, who are pregnant, giving the child the birth, given birth to their child, would be saved, and reducing the deaths of such women. Then universal immunization of children against all vaccines and vaccine preventable diseases. So vaccination drives were undertaken under this, and if you can remember, there were a lot of polio eradication drives, and successfully India could eradicate polio. So this is something which was a very big milestone for the children, because a lot of children used to suffer from polio. So these type of vaccine preventable diseases was something which was taken up in this national population policy, so that children survive well, they are not having any physical disability and problems in their later lives. Then fixing the age of marriage of the girl, the minimum age of 18, and the boy as 20 years minimum, right? This is what they did in the year 2000, so that you don't have a very like you don't have those kind of child marriages which were undertaken in India. Then prevention and control of communicable diseases. This was very important because uh, having awareness created about these diseases also could reduce issues and problems in the people, and achieve a stable population by 2045. This was the aim in that national policy of population, right? So in the year 2000, they said we should have a stable population by 2045. So in general, these were the population policies of India that were taken up. So basically, these were the population policies that were undertaken in India, and there were a lot of benefits that were got stage wise as these population policies were implemented. So, in fact, now in urban areas, a lot of awareness has been created in terms of population control, specifically among the educated class. However, still India is ruled by the rural class, and so we see the population explosion still continues. In the next part, we will look at population as a resource, like how can population become a resource and a benefit for country.